Hi, I'm your host, Tamara Caulder Richardson, and welcome to the Seeking Heaven channel. Today, we have a fantastic guest that you probably have seen some information on him that I've already done some interviews. He's phenomenal. I mean, we're going to have him back. But basically, Ned Matinnia, my guest today, is here not only talking about the first and the largest Facebook page that he has, and he was also very heavily involved with the International Association of Near-Death Studies and conferences, but he is an amazing truth seeker and he has so full of wisdom. And we've discussed many things. So one of the things we're going to be talking about today is NDEs and UFOs and what they have in common, the consciousness of yourself being as big as an ocean. And what does that mean, including soul frequency and tone? And what are the NDE after effects? And he gives examples of what some of those are. And so do I. So stay tuned and watch Ned. It's a blast. You're going to enjoy this. Much love.
As I learned about astrology, it's
Mm,
that each of us are different and we have different energies. A- And and what works for one person is different for other people. And so,
right.
um, as kind of a scientist, a thinker,
Mm,
when I learned about astrology and I started asking everyone their birthdays and kind of analyzing them, it,
mhm,
it, it brought a whole new insight into a person's energy field because remember that we are beings made of energy. NDEs often show this, um, and since I learned about it, it's an incredible tool. And so I have a question. Do you know your moon?
Um, I don't. I wish I did. I can say this. What little bit I know. I was born the first day of. I'm the last day of Pisces and the first day of Aries, so I'm on the cusp, and I am both. I'm an artist. I'm touchy feely, but then I'm fiery. But I don't like being fiery all the time. Like boom, boom, boom. I get tired. I like chillaxing. So um, it's funny you wonder again, chicken and egg, but I do find that a lot of people's signs and all that they are similar. I
Um,
think it's Taurus. I think it's Taurus. I think because I did it with Edgar Casey Institute.
oh, cool. Oh, cool. Yeah, yeah. Because the more that we kind of know our own energy and patterns, it helps us a lot in terms of knowing how to actually live happier. In terms of
Oh,
of
yes.
people uh, uh, who are either introverts or extroverts, or people who love music or science or logic or art. The patterns in us have information in there, and I've heard
Mhm.
several NDEs actually talk about learning about how astrology is actually real, and how the cosmos and planets and how all that actually.
I'm getting I get what you're saying about knowing your own energy because if how can you read another person's energy if you don't understand your own energy and who you need to balance you in your life? Like people expect my husband to be like me. He's not like me at all. He's much more intricate. I am intricate too, but he's chilling. He's really smart and he's quieter, but he'll speak when he needs to. But he's not the same personality as me. Although we have certain what do you call it, core beliefs that we believe. Not religious, really, just core human beliefs. But other than that, Why? Why do you want
The
someone
internet.
like? Why do you want someone like you? Wouldn't it be boring? So we were talking about understanding your own energy to know others and also astrology that does help to know your energy. There was something I wanted to point out before I forgot. I thought it was amazing. So on Gaia TV, I don't know if you know about that, but on Gaia, I have Gaia TV. They had I believe it was either Jordan Maxwell Jordan. I always get his name messed up, but there's a show that just talks about symbols and signs, and he talks about how astrology is so integrated into our world. And matter of fact, he gives evidence. He gives scientific evidence. And he's now passed. I think he passed like this past year, but he was an older guy. But he talks about in like even in the Bible, which is like a really old book, all the astrology in it. But then if you'd hear a modern day Christian type person, they would say, "Oh no, that's horrible," whatever. He said it's all through it, and he explains Pisces and the fish, and how the fish, was the symbol of like Christianity. He said, well, that was at the time that happened of you were in the age of Pisces. And he explains all these signs that people don't realize that have happened, how astrology is a part of. He even talks about, in the Bible multiple times mentioned Orion, Pleiades, and Syria. It's in there. But people, here's the thing. You can't wait on others to tell you things, hopefully like this gets people inspired. They start looking at books and stuff, but you need to research it yourself and look into things. But astrology is an area that is really fascinating. I've had my chart read several times. It's pretty scary accurate, the people that do this. I think I don't understand it all. It's not my bailiwick. That's not the area where I'm good at, but it is amazing. I have not found anything contradictory with astrology.
Something interesting is that my company that I'm working at actually is almost like I'm heading towards that direction in terms of is currently spiritual topics aren't yet talked about or kind of accepted in the business world yet. However, getting towards that direction are personality tests, like the Myers-Briggs. Have you heard of that one?
Yes, I've actually done that test.
On that one, I am INFP, which means I'm introverted, intuitive, feeling, and also perceiving. And other people are extroverted. Other people are more logical or more judging. But what's interesting is that through near-death experiences and kind of reminding us about our unique energy, our unique note or tone, people have talked about, is that we are all part of the whole, and we're all pieces of God in unconditional love, but we're all different on purpose. We're not meant as a cookie cutter.
You're right.
Same personalities, and so like when a person has a child, and the child's personality is often so different. You're like, who's, or sometimes it's actually really similar, but it's a wild card, and it isn't predictable. It's not controllable, because it's a soul. And even animals, like if you have pets and if you have several of them, and oftentimes their personalities are so
Very different.
And it's because inside the animal, inside our bodies is energy. And the energy, if you think about it, isn't just a single energy. Why I love astrology is because it looks at all of the different energies. And so the planets, the moon, we're like blends of things. And so it isn't just like we are one particular energy, like in the case of let's say a Pisces, but we're like a blend. And so a person can have combinations and actually be stronger for certain energies than others. And the reason I say that is because this is kind of entering its own topic. But I think over time, as NDEs become more well known and people begin to honor themselves and each other more, and understand, why this person, acts, this way, or why I act this way. I find that astrology is an incredibly helpful psychological tool. And so it's kind of a tangent. However, the reason I bring it up is I basically feel like NDEs, in showing us how to live better here, now,
Yeah.
part of that is over time, more and more people are becoming curious about who they actually are, and what makes,
Yes.
yeah.
Beautiful. Yes, that is beautifully said. People are becoming more curious who they truly are. Oh my God, that's beautiful. I mean, wow, for being quiet, you really have a tremendous way of words. I mean, I don't know if you know this, but I owned an ad agency 20 something years and I was a slogan writer. Now you have had you cannot believe how many I've written some of them down, how many slogans you've come up with. I mean, just wisdom nuggets and just so beautifully humble you are and all of that. But I am blown away with your depth and your understanding of humanity, life. It's not just the afterlife, it's really consciousness, it's life in general, and how you've just really absorbed this. And man, people are they're just gonna love all of this. Now, the astrology, again, not really my area. I don't see any of this as really being separate because to me there's overlaps. And I think that's the whole point of, I was saying earlier, pre-show, we were talking about some of these near-death experiencers, and you said Nancy Rhines was one of them, that they also say, oh, by the way, I've had some UFO experiences, but they don't like talking about it because they says it never really comes up. But it it's come up with me, like, in between, recording or whatnot, that these things come up with indie experiencers that I have on, and I've had them too. And I said, well, why don't you talk about it? And they go, well, nobody really asked. And I think you think they seem disconnected, but I think it's this. Even with NDEs, it doesn't have to be about NDEs. It could be about some spiritually transformative awakening, a Kundalini thing, or something that triggers an opening. It could be, like I said, waking up and seeing someone you love that's in spirit at the bottom of your bed. You're like, whoa, there you are. It could be, people have Mother Mary experiences. Whatever it is, the experience, they're all different. Open someone up to wait a minute, I'm a spiritual being. And then guess what? They start having more spiritual beings. So getting that one opening that one little, being receptive, yes, surrendering, like, hey, I don't judge. I'm like, hey, I'm just open. Hey, I don't know. Sure, why not? I'm very open. If a spaceship landed in my backyard, I would get on it. I would. I'm not kidding. I would get right on it and go away. Oh, they'd be nice. I mean, nice people. I wouldn't get the weirdos, the weird, no reptilians or anything. But yeah, I would. I'm a very curious person. But I think that being curious, that natural childlike curiosity and having that wonder is important. But also, I think we're gearing these experience to us. And once you're opened up once, it could be anything. It could be the most simple thing that opens you up, that just does that little key. Then you're going to have more. And I think all these subjects are tied in. And I think this with NDEs, they're opened up, right? So now they're like, what? People that have never before even been interested in it. Like you said, Nancy Rhines could be an atheist. Now they're like, oh, we have guides. Oh, by the way, I saw, my mom over there. Oh, by the way, I talk to spirit people. I don't tell people that, but I know they're there. You hear this all the time. And then they'll talk about all sorts of things. UFOs, that's another one. So I think it's just because or spirits or ghosts or all this stuff. I don't see them as separate topics. I see them as the evolution of our consciousness. I mean, how do you feel about that?
Well, I basically love that. Thinking about the bigger picture, the
Mhm.
actual huge picture, because I find that, many people wake up on Monday, and then have a day job or multiple jobs, and usually those jobs aren't passions, but they're just, money makers because we have to, because rents and mortgages keep increasing and people are,
Yeah.
surviving. And so because of this kind of a 3D rat race that we're on, and it becomes limiting. And so uh, when I talked about how spirituality is like the ocean, and sometimes our soul, we just need to dive in because it's nourishing, and it's
Yeah.
healing, and it feels good as a contrast to our daily grind and kind of our chores and everything that has to happen. And so your question in terms of uh, uh, the bigger picture
Yeah.
and all this is,
Related. Yeah.
I think about this a lot in terms of where we are as humans on Earth, and in terms of learning about how other people talk about the other civilizations out there, including Pleiadians, Arcturians, and
Mhm.
everyone else out there. And people in their NDEs sometimes meet beings from these other places, and who are a lot more advanced, a lot more intelligent, a lot more wiser. And I think that it's so fascinating to reflect on. They talk about how humans were kind of primitive, but growing. Um, and like you said, how NDEs are part of that awakening, including all the people who are having ET contact. It's
Yeah.
it,
It's just part of it. That's all.
and over time it is awakening us into a larger awareness, but a larger playground too. When we think about
Yeah.
the Earth, and then we think about our solar system, and if these other civilizations are actually traveling faster than light, and reaching us,
Yeah.
and not just physically, but also psychically
You're
or
right.
telepathically. And so I do find, it's like a huge doorway into all of this. And I think currently science, still has its blindfold on in terms of saying there is absolutely no soul or spirit or intuition. Most scientists actually think this. They think that the brain, it creates everything, and without the brain, you don't have anything. And what NDEs and these other these other phenomena are showing us and reminding us is that reality is so much bigger than that. And eventually, the stubbornness of science, once that kind of matures a bit, and we can finally begin truly accepting all these, and also learning that the stock market isn't the end all of our purpose. It's actually compassion and helping each other, and it isn't about which political party a person is on, or which state or country. It's about connecting with the earth and the animals and nature too. So it's a huge topic, but that's why a lot of people who have NDEs, they come back, and they realize how connected animals and plants and everything are, and they don't want to hurt
Yeah.
any animals or people.
Well, I think you're talking about the interconnectivity of all life, and life is precious. Not, the life, whether it be Mother Gaia, the animals, the nature, other solar systems. From what I've been told, from having UFO, ET type guests, and yes, there's the UFO people that see them, and there's also the people that have the astral where they just start communicating, and some have both. But the whatever we're doing here, we need to raise it to a love vibration, because whatever we're doing apparently affects the other solar systems. Not sure,
I've
but
heard that, yeah.
yeah, I'm just saying what look. That's what I've heard. That's what I've been told. But think about it. What about if you're in the room next to someone really negative? Don't you pick up that energetically, right? Think about it. Well, let's imagine a whole planet. We're not going to have that, because I disagree with all that. I want it to be loving and wonderful and a utopia. So I disagree with that. So, I'm just saying right now, I disagree. I'm going this way. But if we did, I'm just theoretically talking, a bunch of people that was very negative and a lot of crime and blah, 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 it was awful, right? Wouldn't other planets feel that? We feel it with one person. So and that goes back to whatever we do. I always say, if I work on me, you work on you spiritually. What does that mean? Read books, have this conversation, whatever, whatever that can get you your questions answered. And sometimes you have to put it out there for a while and wait till you go, oh, okay, that makes sense. I kind of been thinking about that. But your energy raises, my energy raises, the whole planet's energy raises. And I think just by having these conversations, it's really important because we're still in that battle, I believe, of that 3D old way of thinking. And there's most of the people I know these days, including myself, I don't even watch the news. I mean, God forbid, I wouldn't know if anything happened. But if I really want to find out something, I'll research something. I'll go on some obscure, bizarre, not Google, but something obscure, and I'll go start looking. Yeah, I'll just do my research. But I don't, because I want to keep in a high vibration, and I don't really believe much of what I see. I'm very careful about what I look at on TV, and I think that going back to energy, that the one of the things that I think a lot of people do like with NDEs is I find that other NDEs I've met, as like the Anita Morjanis and all that, and I've been in her presence a couple times, they feel different. You ever notice that? They feel different.
Well, yeah, actually, since my first IONS conference in person and everyone after, it's almost every time I go there, it tends to feel like a family reunion, even though, people
Oh, yeah.
aren't biological family, but there's always a lot of hugs and sometimes tears of just appreciation and appreciating each other.
Please subscribe, like, and make comments, and support this channel by becoming a member. Thank you for your continued support.